An Illinois lawmaker says there's a forgotten group of people who can calm violence if only they're given the opportunity. State Representative LaShawn Ford says former convicts want to help. At a news conference this morning, he spoke on their behalf about what they are capable of and what they need.
My issue with this whole ex-convicts can help calm the violence stuff is that it doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work. That's my only issue with it. I don't have anything against the brothers wanting to help or their heart, where their heart lies or anything like that. My only issue is that it doesn't work. Okay? All right? We had a case in D.C. last year where a violence interrupter, which is what I presume that these guys would be doing in Chicago, is being violence interrupters. A violence interrupter was caught on camera murdering a man. He was arrested for that. Violence interrupter by day, thug by night. Now these guys are street guys who done time and came home. And now they want to help. The best way they can help the community, in my humble opinion, is to be productive citizens themselves. Just to be productive citizens. That's all they need to do. Be a productive citizen. In my humble opinion, that's the best way to do it. Be a productive citizen yourself. Lead a law-abiding, productive life. Get back in your children's lives. Because many of these ex-cons, just because of the nature of being an ex-con, you're a street guy, you're moving fast, when you're young, you're ripping and running, you don't know if you're going to make it another 48 hours, let alone another year, the way they're living. So they're skeeting and everything, popping out babies everywhere. Because they don't know if they're going to be alive. They're not thinking a week down the line. Because then they catch a 20-year bid and they come home in their 40s. Or they come home in their late 30s. And they got all these adult children. Or children in college. Or children finishing high school. And get in their lives. And get them on the right track. And be a good role model for them. But as far as street beef and different crews going back and forth, shooting and killing each other, there's nothing that they can do to stop that. We've seen so many, in D.C. we saw a violence interrupter gunned down. We saw it, I think in Philly we saw a violence interrupter gunned down. All you're going to do really is get yourself hurt. Getting in the middle of that, playing both sides. Somebody going to accuse you of playing both sides. And it's just messy. The streets is messy. It ain't going to be, nothing you do, no act of kindness goes unpunished in Blackistan. Okay? No act of kindness goes unpunished. I haven't used that in a while for some of you guys that are new to the channel. But no act of kindness ever goes unpunished in the Sun Belt. Never. Okay? Even if you don't get your punishment immediately, just wait. It's coming. You'll be punished. Any act of kindness. So I get these brothers have good hearts, and some of them may want to do the right thing. Just, you have adult children, you have, young adult children whose lives you can affect positively. Do that.
An Illinois lawmaker says there's a forgotten group of people who can calm violence if only they're given the opportunity. State Representative LaShawn Ford says former convicts want to help. At a news conference this morning, he spoke on their behalf about what they are capable of and what they need.
If they are given a chance, they can help clean up the streets, and they're calling for calm in our cities, not just on this holiday, but every day. And they're asking for the state, the city, and the county to support their efforts to cut down on the violence and to make sure that people with backgrounds don't recidivate because they can't get a job.
I think he used that word wrong, but recidivism is basically when you go back to jail after you get out. And that's a big problem in the Sun Belt. Guys get out and they go back in. And they're saying it's because they can't get jobs. That shouldn't be a problem now. There are too many jobs right now. Right now, all these major cities are complaining that there are too many jobs and they don't have enough people to fill them. McDonald's is paying $15 an hour. All the overtime you want. Everywhere. I would flip burgers. If I wasn't a YouTuber, I would flip burgers for $15 an hour to flip burgers and drop fries. You can't make $15 an hour as an administrative assistant. A dental hygienist. You know? McDonald's is a competitive job now. So that may have been the case at some other times, but right now there's too many jobs. Okay? Too many jobs now. Not enough people to fill them. And there's so many programs for ex-offenders. So many. Well, there always have been, but now everybody knows they are. One thing I don't like, though, about the whole ex-con thing, getting ex-cons to come back into the young guys, because, listen, ex-cons, they always do it wrong. They come back with the, man, in my day, you know, I was out here ripping and running, man. I was killing everything, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to be the flies, have all the clothes, you know, all the girls and everybody, you know, I knew everybody, and, you know, I was popular. I was, you know, I was that dude, but, you know, it cost me, look what it cost me. It cost me 20 years. And, you know, don't do what I did. Don't make the same mistakes I made. And a kid from the ghetto who's 15, who got a bunch of little buddies that already been killed in a gang or something, and he was in a shootout last night. Well, it was a shootout on his block last night. And he lived with his grandmother because his dad's in jail. And his mother, you know, it's better for him to live with his grandmother. He hears that, and he don't hear about the time. The time, he can't conceptualize 20, 30 years in the penitentiary. All he hears is you was the man, you had all the girls, and you had all the money, and you was in the club every night, and you was fly, you knew everybody, and people feared you. And you had respect. He can't conceptualize 20, 30 years. That means nothing to him. You might as well not even said that. So that's one thing that these brothers do often. I've been there, man. I've been there, man. All this stuff been going on for decades, man. I used to have people come to the little rec centers I was in and little programs I was in. Ex-cons, dudes from the hood come speak to us. All that stuff, man. This was going on in the 90s, man, in the 80s. This ain't nothing new. And the little hoodlum dudes in the group, whatever group we was in, they didn't hear none of that, none of the bad stuff. All they heard was the good stuff. All they heard was so-and-so was the man. He had all the money and all the girls and all the respect, and people scared of him. When you grow up in those environments, that's what you want. You want respect and fear. Because it's a dangerous environment, and the only way people will respect you is if they fear you. The whole time about going to jail is part of it. They even if they hear the going to jail part, they know that's part of it. So these guys, they can't. Their message just doesn't go down the way they think it does.
If they are given a chance, they can help clean up the streets, and they're calling for calm in our cities, not just on this holiday, but every day. And they're asking for the state, the city, and the county to support their efforts to cut down on the violence and to make sure that people with backgrounds don't recidivate because they can't get a job.
Former convicts say since they've left prison, they've gotten married, gotten better education, and made their lives better. But often they can't even find housing because of their pay.
This weekend, a group of women are holding a fast and prayer vigil in Austin in response to all of the escalating violence in Chicago. The women point out that the violence seems to be getting worse in spite of all the anti-violence programs and increased police presence.
The violence seems to be getting worse despite all the anti-violence programs and increased police presence. Okay? So that lets you know. That lets you know something. That deal lets you know something. We talking about some serious issues here, Jack. The violence is getting worse despite programs and increased police presence. So I'm going to be fair. The increased police presence may not be working to prevent the violence, but I guarantee you one thing, it'll keep it in certain areas. It will keep it in certain areas. Now, the programs, they don't work. We all know that they don't work. If I had to choose, get rid of one and keep one, I'm more of the line of get rid of the programs and keep the police. I would like to know what y'all think. If you had to choose one, programs or police, you got to get rid of one. Or better yet, you got to keep one. You got to keep one and get rid of one. Which one would y'all keep? I'm keeping the police because I know that the police, these people scared of police. Criminals are scared of police. Even when they do a drive-by, let's just say they do a drive-by, they still drive by and leave. They don't stay there and finish. Like, the reason they do drive-bys is because they're trying to hurry up and do their thing and get out of there. That's the reason. Police are the reason for a drive-by. No program's going to stop that. The program's not going to stop none of this stuff. Now, little programs to feed kids that don't have food and, I guess, help children and help, people that need things. I'm not against that. I'm not against food banks and free lunches and stuff like that. I'm not against none of that. So if you get in my comment section and try to say something like that, I'm going to block you into infinity. And recently, I just unblocked everybody. About a month, I'll say about 2-3 weeks ago, out of everybody who was blocked, I unblocked them. But this time, if you say something stupid like that, like I'm trying to say that, I'm never unblocking you. I grew up on programs. Okay? I grew up on programs. My whole life, young adult life and adult life is a program. Okay? Programs. So I'm not saying about those certain programs. But anything that they do to stop violence, it doesn't work. Now they're praying. Now they're taking prayer. The programs ain't working, police don't work, so now there's the PPP loans. Programs, police, and prayer. Well, bless these women's heart, man. And I'm not gonna sit here and clown these women, because they doing what they think they're at their wits' end. It's their kids are getting killed. You know what I'm saying? It's their little sons that's out here that's doing it and is getting killed. So they're more invested in it than I am. It's their little sons that's out here killing people and out here getting killed. And I mean, I can't knock them for saying prayer. I know a lot of people want me to beat them up because it's cool to beat up black women. That's the thing. That's how you get praise, but on YouTube. But you know, I do my fair share of that. In this case, I beat up everybody though. But in this case, if the police presence ain't working and the programs ain't working, what else do you have? We just pray. I mean, what else do they have? What other choice do they have? Nothing works. Nothing's working. I know people are going to say, oh, but it wasn't always this bad. Yeah, but that was before they started idolizing criminals and celebrating criminals. See, criminals have always been celebrated in the black community, you know, but that's more like the underground. Like, we celebrate like dudes go to jail. That's kind of like a rite of passage. You kind of like, you go to jail. Like Chris Rock always got the skit. A brother come home from college. You ain't my master. What you mean you got a master's degree? You ain't my master. A brother come home from jail and is, man, I love you. So it's like, everybody remember that Chris Rock skit. So we've always worshiped criminals and celebrated criminals in the black community. But now that they do it on a national level this last year with the whole George Floyd coronation, criminals saw that and it emboldened them in a level that I don't think people really understand. Like, you're talking about an arrogant group of people, criminals, street guys, thugs, very arrogant group. Now they have wind beneath their wings, so it's always been like that, but it's worse now. So now maybe the only thing left to do is pray.
This weekend, a group of women are holding a fast and prayer vigil in Austin in response to all of the escalating violence in Chicago. The women point out that the violence seems to be getting worse in spite of all the anti-violence programs and increased police presence. They are sleeping in tents that you see there at the Laramie State Bank and appealing to a higher power to bring safety and peace to their community.
We think that this is demonic, but I think the most important thing that we need to do is to reaffirm our values, our morality, and our love for each other.
Well, the vigil and fast will continue until tomorrow afternoon.